When Melissa Parker first found the photograph, she thought it was just a prank. It was a Polaroid, slightly curled at the edges, sitting on her kitchen counter. The picture showed her sleeping, her hair spread across the pillow, her blanket pulled to her shoulder, the faint light of her bedside lamp glowing in the background. She lived alone. Her stomach dropped. The photo was taken from inside her bedroom, from the corner near her closet. The same corner she'd sometimes glance at in the middle of the night, thinking she saw movement. She told herself it wasn't possible. Maybe one of her friends had taken it as a joke. But she hadn't had anyone over in weeks. She checked her front door. It was locked. The windows were shut. Nothing seemed out of place. Melissa worked as a freelance graphic designer, usually from home. Her apartment was small, one bedroom, one bath, in an older building downtown. It was the kind of place where you could hear your neighbors through the walls, footsteps in the hall, pipes knocking in the night. The landlord was friendly, but rarely around. That night, she lay awake, staring at the corner where the photo had been taken. She didn't sleep much. The next morning, there was another photo. This one was taped to her bathroom mirror. Same angle, same room, same subject, her asleep. But this time, the picture was closer. Whoever took it had been standing just a few feet from her bed. She went straight to the police. They looked at the photos, took notes, and promised to check the building's security footage. But there were no cameras inside the hallways, only at the main entrance. The officer asked if she had any ex-boyfriends or people who might want to scare her. She said no. They suggested maybe it was a neighbor. That night, she installed a cheap motion sensor camera in her bedroom, pointing at her bed. She also wedged a chair under her door handle, something she'd seen in movies. Then she went to bed, pretending to sleep while her phone recorded video from the nightstand. At 3:17 a.m., the motion sensor light flashed. Melissa jolted awake. She didn't hear footsteps, but she felt it, that heavy stillness in the room, like someone else was breathing nearby. She reached for her phone flashlight, but by the time she turned it on, the light had stopped flashing. The chair under the door was still in place. The next morning, she checked the footage. For the first 2 hours, nothing unusual. Then, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the screen flickered. Static for half a second, then black. When the video returned, the camera was tilted slightly downward, toward her bed. Her stomach twisted. She didn't remember touching it. She left the apartment that day and stayed with her friend Chloe. When she came back the next evening with Chloe by her side, she found another Polaroid sitting on her kitchen counter. This time, it wasn't of her sleeping, it was of her standing by her bed, holding her phone, staring at the camera. It had been taken the night before. She dropped it and started crying. Chloe called the police again. They searched the apartment, attic, and basement. No signs of forced entry. No hidden cameras. No crawl spaces or vents large enough for someone to hide in. The police officer looked at Melissa like she might be imagining it, but the photos were real, physical proof that someone had been inside. After that, Melissa couldn't stay there anymore. She moved out within a week, breaking her lease. She found a new apartment across town, a modern building with security systems and cameras everywhere. She changed her phone number, her locks, and even her job location. For a few weeks, things were quiet. No strange noises. No photographs. She started to relax again, until one morning, she found a small white envelope outside her door. Inside was a single Polaroid. It was her new bedroom. She was asleep. Melissa screamed and called the police again. They took the photo, dusted it for prints, but there were none. Not even hers. They checked the building's security footage. No one had been seen entering or leaving her floor that night. And yet, the photo had appeared. A week later, her upstairs neighbor, an elderly man named Mr. Hall, stopped her in the hallway. He asked if she'd been having trouble sleeping. When she said yes, he looked uneasy. "I've lived here for 12 years, he said. "Every few years, someone new moves into your unit. They never stay long. Always the same story. Noises, shadows, things moved around." She asked if he'd ever seen anyone. He hesitated. "Once. Late at night. Someone standing outside your window, 3rd floor up. But when I looked again, they were gone." Her new apartment was on the 3rd floor. There was no balcony, no ledge to stand on. That night, she pushed her dresser against the window and turned every light on. She stayed awake until sunrise. But sometime around 4 a.m., exhaustion took over. When she woke up, the dresser had been moved back. And on top of it sat another Polaroid, this time an image of her staring straight into the camera, wide awake. No one ever saw who took the pictures. Melissa eventually moved out of the city entirely. The police case was left open, unsolved. A few months later, the landlord of her old building was doing maintenance on her former apartment when he noticed something strange behind the bedroom wall, a small panel, barely visible behind the wallpaper. He pried it open and found a crawl space between the walls, just wide enough for a person to move through. Inside were dozens of Polaroid photos scattered across the floor, all of Melissa and several other women who had lived there before her. None of the women had ever reported seeing anyone. Only the photos. The crawl space ended near a ventilation shaft that led to the roof, but the exit was sealed from the inside. Whoever had been hiding there was gone. To this day, no one knows who took the pictures, how they got inside, or if they're still out there, waiting for their next subject to fall asleep. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.